Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of BRP recalls on the on-road products, and we're going to be talking about a friend of mine who just got his Spyder back after a big, long hassle. We're going to talk about his customer service, the way he felt about the way he was treated, and some of his frustrations, because as usual, we want to keep it real for you. So do me a favor before we get going. Give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. You know I would greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, let's just get on down the road and do it. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is a recall on the Can-Am Rykers. Now, I want you to know this recall is on a fuel pump impeller. So the fuel pump impeller could swell up and cause the fuel pump to stop working. This could lead to an engine stall while driving, of course. And without the ability to restart the vehicle, the situation may increase the risk of a crash. So basically, if your fuel pump isn't working, it's not going to pump fuel into that engine, and you're not going to get any propulsion because there's no gas to ignite. So there you go. So which models are involved? It's for model year 21 and 22. However, if you've had fuel pump work done and you have a 2019 through a 2024, they could have put one of these faulty fuel pumps in your Ryker. So make sure you check this recall out. I'm going to be leaving a link to both of these down below in the description, so make sure you check those out. I would certainly hate for you to be a part of this recall and not get the proper work done and be heading up a mountain or something. But what will BRP do? BRP will inspect and, if necessary, replace the fuel pump at no charge. What do you do? Schedule an appointment at your nearest Can-Am dealer. All right, so there is the Can-Am Ryker recall, the fuel pump problem. It's for the impeller swelling up and shutting the fuel pump down. Okay, the next one is for a Spyder. Yeah, you heard it. We have a recall on the Spyder. Both of these recalls were put out in December. And by the way, thank you to Alan who sent me an email about the recall on the Ryker. I really do appreciate you giving me a heads up. You giving me that information drove me to the BRP website so that I could get all of this information. Thank you so much. It is through people like you that keep everyone else informed, and I really, really do appreciate it. So if you're out there in the Spyder or the Ryker community and you see something, be sure to send me an email, send me a text message. Sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't. It depends on how busy it's been that week. I've been known to get several hundred emails in a week, and it can get very overwhelming. If you spend 1 minute on each email and 1 minute on each comment, I mean, I would literally spend 8 hours a week just looking at it with 1 minute given to each one. It's very, very difficult. It can be quite overwhelming. All right, so the next recall is a Spyder recall, and again, I'll have a link down below for this. So which vehicles are impacted? This is for the 2023 F3 and F3Ss. So what is the problem? The rear view mirror lens, the reflective portion of the mirror, may dislodge from the housing. And what that'll do, if it dislodges, it's a never, never land, and it will increase your risk of crash because you can't see what's going on behind you. Pretty simple. All right, so what will BRP do? BRP will replace those mirrors, parts and labor, all of that stuff. All of the parts and materials that are needed for this repair are not at the dealers yet, but be sure contact your dealer so that they can get the needed parts for you and get that thing repaired for you. There are many of us, me myself included, who have not had our pulley replaced on the recall for, it's well over a year old. Probably August will be 2 years, and I still haven't had that recall work done yet either. So parts are a problem. Parts can be a problem. It can be a delay for you. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact your local BRP dealership. Links on this information will be down below, and here is a phone number right here that you can call BRP if you have any questions about these safety recalls. Now, let's move on to something even bigger and greater in magnitude. Well, I don't know about all that, but let's start here. I've got a friend of mine that lives up near Thomasville, Georgia, and he has a Can-Am Spyder. We're going to back up. He had a couple of things happen to his Spyder that were, one seemed like a very simple repair, and the repair happened quickly. And then all of a sudden, some other things went on. It appeared that those issues were not related to the accident. And so there's questions about whether it's going to be covered under warranty, whether it's not going to be covered under warranty. There were just a lot of problems with numbers and figures and it's been quite a nightmare for this friend of mine. So this guy, I'm not going to say his name because just for anonymity's sake. However, we talked on the phone this morning extensively about this, and I'm going to get the details as close to correct as I can. I think after this, you will certainly have a picture of what was going on in his life and how frustrating things can be when things start dropping to the side and things go south. It can get ugly and you can get frustrated, and it can be quite a nightmare. So initially what happened? He's riding down the road. He's enjoying himself, a beautiful day, and there is a tire in the road. There's nowhere to go. He's got a car barreling down behind him. He's got a diesel truck coming in the other direction, and he's got a ditch in the other part, and it is hit this tire. That's all you can do. And sometimes that's all you can do is hang on tight and pucker up and pray for the best, and that's what happened. Now, when this occurred, he damaged a fender and a wheel and some body work on the front and the skid plate on the bottom. All of those things were replaced. Those parts came in like that. It was magical. He was very pleased after hearing all of the things that he had heard about the difficulty in getting parts and recalls and all of these things. He was very, very pleased. He got the parts. The Spyder was fixed. He was well on his way. He goes out for a ride. In the ongoing weeks, he's enjoying everything. He goes out for a ride. He's on a road. He's enjoying some twisties and just really having a good time. Hits first gear, great. Second gear, great. No-go into third, and the Spyder went into limp mode. He gets the bike to the dealership. It was very, very crazy for him. So initially, they tell him it's the module and the wiring harness. And this should not have been related to the aforementioned accident. This was something entirely different. Well, through this process, they find another issue. It is a problem with the linkage, the shifting linkage. They replace the module, even though they don't think the module has a problem. It's slinging codes, and they want to make sure that they go ahead and knock that one out. They replaced the module. The wiring harness tested fine, so they did not replace the wiring harness. But getting this piece of linkage, this was in May. He just got a Spyder just before Christmas. Getting this piece of linkage for his transmission took almost 7 months. Almost 7 months. This is a new machine. A 22 or a 23. So get parts acquisition for a common part like a shifting linkage should not be that difficult to get. So the question that I had in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe the dealer is not exercising their due diligence. And so I wanted to talk to the owner of the Spyder again and say, hey, did you contact BRP? Were you on the phone? Yes, he was. Yes, he was engaged with the dealership. Yes, he was engaged with BRP helpline. They were told the part was on back order, on back order, on back order, on back order. And they could not get the part. Now, I know there are some of you who are going to say, well, it's a shame, but it's understandable. I'm going to say this. I don't think it's understandable. I couldn't imagine buying, I'm going to say this, a Toyota Camry. And the shifting linkage on my Toyota Camry bend or break or have a problem, and Toyota go, we just can't get you a piece of shifting linkage. It would be available. They'd find it somewhere, and they would get it to me, and they would get it to me quick. This sort of issue has to be resolved. The consumer cannot continue to take this on the chin. A 7-month wait is unreasonable. It's just unreasonable. If you've had a bad experience, I'd like for you to share down below because, this stuff, these are the kinds of things that I want to shed light on as an ambassador. Because these are the things that help BRP figure out what's actually going on in the world, in the real world the brick and mortar world that we live in, there's often a gap between the manufacturer and the consumer. And the more that we can close that gap so that they understand what we're experiencing and what we're going through, and how a parts acquisition thing can really be very problematic, where you may be making a payment on this Spyder. I believe, my buddy paid cash for his. He's kind of like me. He just buys it, right? But there are people who pay a payment every month and pay insurance every month. And to be paying a payment for 7 months and insurance for 7 months and registration and all of these things to keep this thing road ready is just not cool. It's just not cool. Now, the dealer, I asked him today about the dealer. Did the dealer do a good job? He felt that the dealer, in fact, he is still using the same dealer. He said that if he has a problem with a Spyder in the future, he will utilize this dealer. This dealer is in VALDOSTA, Georgia. I'll drop the name of the dealer right here or down below. And if you have a problem with a Spyder and you're in that South Georgia area, that would be a good dealer for you to go to, because this gentleman that I'm referring to, he's a good guy, he's an honest guy, and he wants things done properly. And this dealership treated him well. The parts manager was good to him. They kept him in the loop whenever things were going on. They would let him know every week, every month, as things would be back ordered and problems were occurring. They were always keeping him in the loop. So the dealership, I want to applaud you for doing a good job, because I know a lot of times this happens. There are dealers who deserve the black eye, okay? We'll say that. But there are also dealers who, when they're working hard for you, they end up taking it on the chin, where we get angry because we're not getting the part we need, we're not getting the service we feel we deserve, and we take it out on them. And that's unfair to them, but it's just part of doing business, and we understand that as human beings. So make sure that you're casting blame to the person who actually is the one who is to be blamed. Sometimes it is the dealer, sometimes it's the manufacturer, and sometimes it's us. I believe in this particular case, it wasn't the individual riding the Spyder, and it wasn't the dealer. It was the manufacturer could not get the part to the dealer, and therefore the consumer ends up frustrated, and it creates a lot of problems locally. So if you've had an experience like that, share it down below. Likewise, I want you to do this also. I have had nothing but good experiences with my local dealer, and BRP has been good to me. I'm just going to tell you that right up front. Parts acquisition has been difficult at times, but no more difficult than any other European motorcycle that I have. That said, my experience has been good. If your experience has been good, share it down below. We're not here just to bash things and to be negative and hateful. That's not what this is about. This is about finding the good things, the bad things, and the indifferent things, so that we can be better informed consumers. BRP can provide a better service for us better informed consumers, and the dealers do a better job as well. We want everyone along that line to be professional, to be diligent, and be responsible in the role that we play. And we want to make sure that we do everything we can to do it right. So there it is, a nightmare that was experienced by a friend of mine about parts acquisition for one simple part. Now, you may say that's not a simple part. I don't know if it's simple or not. I know that it's a part, and I know it's a functional, basic mechanical part. The module, the fender, the body parts, radiator, all the stuff that needed to be replaced initially was just like that. It was this one little thing. It was that one little thing that kept the loop from being closed. Again, let me know your experiences down below, good or bad. This is the kind of information that I want you to have and that I want to have, so that I can be a better informed and more well-rounded consumer. So do me a favor before we go, give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and do me a favor until next time. You, yes you, go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. And brother, I'm glad you got your Spyder back. Now you go seize the day. I'll see you on the road real soon.